I think we must be live because there's a little green button that says live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Love Stream TV. I'm your host, Brandon Love. And my awesome co-host today is Carisa Montooth, my friend. You've met her in our number one episode to this day. And hi, Wanda and Nina.
Hi, Wanda.
You can find Carisa at carisamontooth.com.
Yes.
Okay. And obviously you can find us at Crumble Co. If you're here, we're just going to wait around for a minute for everyone to enter the room. But today we're talking about
5 concrete ways to love yourself. Because, oh my gosh, people tell you to love yourself all the time. But a lot of times we don't know exactly what that means.
And there's some jokes about what that could mean. But
right. We actually...
Right.
You go love yourself and we'll wait here.
60 seconds.
You got 60 seconds to go love on yourself and we'll wait for you.
Before we get started with our top 5 ways, our conversational pieces, and all sorts of fun lessons, make sure you tag your friends. Make sure you share this onto your personal Facebook. I appreciate it a lot. Carisa appreciates it, and Crumble Co. appreciates it. Make sure you comment in our stuff in the group. Make sure you get everyone in here watching it so they can be a part of the live fun, because the recordings are fun, but showing up live is even funner.
It is the best. The energy is the best.
Oh, yeah. These are always so good. And a reminder, throughout the entire show, we will be taking questions, answering things. So hit us at any point in time. We'll both be periodically checking in and out of all the comments, keeping an eye on everything that you guys have to say, and we'll try to keep the conversation open and fun. So,
because that's what we're about, open and fun.
Without further ado, I will let you take the road on the introduction of this topic.
Oh, great.
It's so important.
So 5 ways to love yourself. So the reason why we have to talk about this is because everybody says, okay, it's really important that you love yourself. And everybody knows on some level, we all get that we've got to love and accept ourselves, especially if we're trying to bring love into our lives, like in a relationship, in whatever way. But there isn't a lot of advice out there about what that means to love yourself. Like, there's not a lot of advice out there that's like, these are the concrete ways to do that. This is what that means. This is what that looks like in your day-to-day life. This is how someone who loves themselves behaves, so that you can emulate those behaviors. It's more just like this woo-woo kind of concept of like, feel good about yourself. Do some affirmations.
Focus on the happy. Right.
Right.
Feel better now.
Positive. Yeah.
Stay positive is such a...
That's a bad thing.
Steps that are in, it's like when you make a to-do list and you have a big to-do and it overwhelms you because you know that to-do right there is its own subsection of a to-do list. Be positive is one of those big to-dos that has a whole subsection of to-dos. Be positive is like
50 things, really. And plus, it's like being positive can sometimes be a spiritual shortcut, right? Because it's like people tell you to do that so that they don't have to really like deal with you where you are. They just want to see you happy and move on so that they don't have to connect with you where you are, and that might trigger stuff in them they haven't dealt with in anyway, all of that kind of stuff. Be positive is like one of the most damaging things that you can do. But anyway, so the self-love stuff, so important to have like actual tools in your toolbox where something's going on and you get triggered by something, your insecurities start to come up, or you have a really big disappointment or something like that. And then you got to know what to do. Like, you have to have actual real tools where you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to handle this. Like, this is an action I can take in this moment. This is a new thought I can have right now. I can refocus on the things that are healing and helpful and move me forward in my life. And that sense of control is just so crucial. So that's what we're going to talk about today. These 5 things are tools in your toolbox so that you don't have to like just feel stuck in that whatever that triggering episode is that's making you doubt yourself or feel insecure or staying in that disappointment and kind of wallowing. This is good stuff to help you move forward, real action steps.
And our big thing at Crumble Co. is it's never going to be a 10-step piece that's going to bring you to peace. It is always, here are tools, here are coping mechanisms, here are things that we've learned in our adventure that hopefully you can use in your adventure, because everything's got to be custom. I think these are 5 awesome things we're going to share that may or may not work for each person, but we're encouraging you to try, we're encouraging you to play with, discover, build upon, and use in your own methods, because you have to build your own happiness in your own way.
Right. And not everything is going to work for every person, but there are things out there that you might not know about yet that might work for you. Plus, there are things out there that we all know to do that we just don't do usually.
Gentle reminders. Back to the
sometimes you just got to hear it sometimes again, or you have to hear it when you're in a different place, or you have to hear it like when you've already kind of gone through something, and then you're like, oh, okay, I know what this means, or this is what this means for me now. Like, I'm ready to hear this now.
And that's a good habit for spreading love too, is being on the constant path of doing those gentle reminders. Because I know I used to be like, it's redundant. Why share that kind of stuff? But my life changed a lot when I had Carrie Ann on my team and in here all the time, because I'm telling you, that woman is a nonstop gentle reminder. She's always reminding me that it's going to be okay. She's always walking me through things and making it calmer and okay. And I'm like, these are all redundant things you speak in. But I needed it right now. I needed it right now.
I really needed to hear that. Yeah, and it's so weird because sometimes someone will say something and it's like all of a sudden that's in color. Right. And everything else is in black and white. Right. And you're like, oh my gosh, I understand what this means now. Yeah. Like I remember hearing people say forever say, save your breath to cool your porridge. And I was always like, what the heck does that sound like? Some yoga woo-woo
right?
BS. Right. Like, what does that mean? And then I remember hearing myself say something to someone in my life, and I had said it to them so many times, and they were obviously not listening. Like they were, you know how sometimes you have someone in your life who's like always having problems, and so they want to talk about it.
The same problem.
But they never actually like do anything different. And I heard myself saying it, and I was bored of hearing myself say it.
Oh.
Because I'd said it that much. And then I finally went, oh, this is what that means. Save your breath to cool your porridge.
In color.
Bam! I was like, oh. So then I started saying to that person, you know what? You're an awesome person and you're very smart, and I'm sure you're going to work this all out on your own. I'm sure you can.
There's those beautiful default answers that can sometimes just protect our own sanity that I use all the time. And so with that beautiful introduction, we're going to go to our first point, and I'm going to read it out, and then I'll let you jump into the conversation pieces, because I've got your 5 ones right here, plus a bonus question at the end.
Yes, because so we're all about the over-delivering.
Number 1 is stop scaring yourself.
Yes. So many times we start to focus on some kind of fearful outcome that is not even that likely.
Yeah. Like the worst thing that could happen is the number one thing that's going to happen in our head, even with the 0.0% one chance.
Exactly. We're like, but that's going to happen to me. Especially that's going to happen to me if I don't worry about it right now. You know, it's like my worrying about that thing is the only thing
that's going to solve it.
Happening to me.
The only existence that problem has in the universe is your worry at that moment.
In your mind. Yeah, exactly. The energy that you're giving that thing. So it can even be like, you know, so you hear something about layoffs at work or something like that, and you immediately think that you're getting laid off, or somebody, you know, somebody doesn't call you back for a date or something, and you think that means, oh, it's because nobody loves me and I'm totally unattractive and I'm going to be
0 to 100.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to die alone and this is it, and you know what I mean? It's like, this is just proof.
That's comical. Read
you know,
me.
And it's like, oh my gosh, but we do that all the time. We tell ourselves all these super scary things, and we just jump to this like the most negative possible interpretation of what a neutral event means.
So why do we do that?
Like a neutral event. Why do we do that?
Yeah.
We usually do that. There are a couple of reasons we do that. One of the reasons we do that is because we think that if we prepare for the worst, if we imagine that the worst is going to happen, we'll somehow be more prepared for it if it does happen, which isn't true. You know, it doesn't actually work like that.
If you get hit by a train, it don't matter how much you're going to think about it.
Right. If you think about it ahead of time and be like, if I got hit by a train, I would try to jump out of the way real quick. It's like, you know.
You're going to try to do that regardless.
Right. But if you know, when things hit you, they're going to hit you. And so you have to, it's better to like fill up your tank with that self-love, because what starts to happen is that you start to go, instead of going, I've got to avoid bad things happening to me, you start going, I am equipped to deal with whatever happens to me.
Okay.
The core of me will be okay no matter what happens to me. The core of me is solid and unchangeable and bulletproof, and I'll be okay no matter what happens to me. And that's a better kind of mindset to be able to have, because then instead of making all your decisions out of the fear of what you think might happen to you, you're making decisions out of your love for yourself and out of like, what do I want for myself? You know, what do I actually want to create? And I'll take a risk to get that because I'm not afraid to fail, you know?
Yeah, same situations, same risks, better attitude at better energy putting into it.
Yeah, because focusing on that stuff you hate, oh my gosh, I have to tell you this story. So I hate Japanese beetles. I hate them. I hate them.
Okay.
So I have focused a lot of negative... no, like the June bugs that are like all loud and lazy, and they like fly into you, and they're like, and you don't hear them till they get like 2 feet away from you, but they're kind of dumb. So they're always just like, and then you're just like, they always scare the crap out of me. Right. And then they're just all upon you, and you're trying to, it's like, I hate those. I hate Japanese beetles. And it's like, I have this serious fear of Japanese beetles. So I was having lunch with my daughter and my husband, and we were at this like sandwich shop. We were out in front, and I was talking to them about how much I hate Japanese beetles, and my husband already knows this, right? So my daughter starts to go, she stands up and she goes, Japanese beetles, hear me. My daughter's like 5 years old. She's like standing there and she's like, come
and my spirit
and
animal.
attack my mommy. And she literally stands up and does this. And I swear to God, a Japanese beetle flew down from the roof of the sandwich store and like landed in my purse. Why did it land in my purse? Why my purse? And my husband's like, well, what does the law of attraction say about, you know, this whole situation? And I'm like, because I was so negatively focused on this terrible outcome and how much I hate these beetles, of course, you know, and my daughter's laughing hysterically because she's she summoned this Japanese beetle. And it's like, anytime I do something, she stands out in the open and she goes, Japanese beetles, like, avenge me, you know? It's like this crazy, because she knows, like, that's the one thing, you know, that bothers mommy. But it's like that. It's like you focus on that thing that you hate, and you that thing you're afraid of, and you focus so much on it, you actually tend to bring it into your life. You know, so when you scare yourself by thinking about that over and over and over again, it's like you eventually are bringing it in. It's like that. It's not that you bring in, you know, the things that you just think about the most. It's like you bring in the things that you think about that have a strong emotional charge. What you're focused on that has a strong emotional charge. So even if that's a negative strong emotional charge, like fear, if you're focused on that all the time, it's like that's what you're going to tend to attract to you the most. And people do that in relationships often, where their fear is that someone's going to cheat on them. So they tend to attract cheaters after cheaters after cheaters after cheaters, because that's their strong fear. That like, that's what it's going to be. I'm going to attract somebody that's going to cheat on me. That's the fear. So like, that's who kind of comes in. But the kind of, the thing to do about that is you got to shut that shit down of like scaring yourself constantly. You know, it's like, and the way to do that is to be like, you have to take yourself, you know, you have to be like, okay, look, I'm choosing to not focus on this fear. I am choosing to focus on the good things in my life. I'm choosing to focus on the things that are great about me. I'm choosing where my focus is going to be. You know, I'm choosing to focus on what I want to create for myself and what I can do today to make that happen. I'm choosing to focus on the stuff I love about my life and what I can be grateful for. I'm choosing to focus on all the things that are going right and to see those as signs of land that I'm on the right path, even if I'm not there yet. I'm moving in the right direction. So I'm going to focus on
I spend a lot of time focusing on my skills and habits with communication with other people, and then I kind of neglect my skills and habits of communication with myself. And that's a huge part of self-love, is not scaring myself. And I had a moment today in the mirror where I was like, you know, having to give some bad news out. And I was like, people are going to be a little upset. And I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, it's not at you. I was like, you don't always have to make the situation so bad in your head be. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm talking. And I'm like, this is good. We could have this meeting again. And then I said, bye.
Yeah, you're like, let's do this every day.
This is good. Yeah.
I love that, because that's
so good for me. What's it good for you?
Yeah, right. Because it's like, and in a way, you can even have a mental counsel, you know, which we've talked about before. It's like,
right, yeah.
You know, you have your mental counsel, and it's like it's like encouraging, it's supportive for you. It's like you know that you have like a team, like a team that has your back, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's just a really big thing, is like how often we scare ourselves and go, this is the end, this is it, it's finally happening. Another way we do that is by we're worried that somehow we're going to be discovered as like a fraud.
Right.
Like
yes.
Somehow when people get to know me, they're going to figure out that I am not a good person, or worthy, or qualified, or skillful, something like that, like lovable. I think at the bottom of it, it's like they're gonna discover that I'm not lovable or worthy, is like what's at the bottom of it.
In this social world we have, you know, as Shrek says, we're all onions. And there's this outer layer that we make in our social medias and online that is so pristine and on point and perfect, that one layer below that, we're petrified. People are coming in, oh no, you can't see me offline. I don't have a filter on. Hold on, what's up? Like, hold up your phone, open Snapchat, and look at me through that.
Right. We don't even do, we do the same thing with our relationships. Like, you never take pictures of your boyfriend or your girlfriend's dirty socks on the ground and, you know, Instagram that kind of stuff. You know, we don't Instagram that stuff. We're like, okay, now put your drink like this, and then you look like this, and then just look out the window like just like pensive, like introspective, but not like too.
Oh yeah, so natural. Love it.
Got it. And then what filter am I going to put over that? I was like, we do the same thing.
So natural. Now go back to normal.
Exactly. And I will tell you a secret. And it's like the same way that people are doing that with their relationships. And we always go back, you know, people go back. I have a lot of clients who will go back and they'll feel guilty because they cyber stalked an ex.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, you know, I looked and everything looked so perfect and blah, blah, blah. It's like they never even remembered me or whatever. I got news for you.
Yes.
Their life is not like that. And a lot of times, you're the reason why they're creating that facade, is because they want you to believe that they have this beautiful, wonderful, amazing, perfect life, because that's going to make them feel better.
And you know, half the time you're doing the same thing, hoping that they're looking at your profile.
They're doing the same thing as you. There's somebody that's curated for. They did not create that for themselves.
Never do.
It looks great anyway. Yeah.
Never do create your social medias for yourself if you think about it.
You don't.
You should.
But you don't.
But you don't.
Because it's not for you. You're living your life. You're not
living show on for someone else. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Instagram is not for you to. It's not a photo album of your life of like things you want to remember, like scrapbooking. Instagram is like, this is what, just so you all know.
It's like your brochure. It's making the brochure of yourself for other people.
Yeah, it's your speaker one sheet.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I want to also start moving conversation into number 2, and our number 2 part for how to love yourself, and what that means is heaping praise upon yourself.
Yes, please. Oh my goodness. You are so much more amazing than you give yourself credit for. You are so much more magnificent. You are so much more beautiful. You are so much more wise. You are so much more capable and competent than you believe that you are, than you give yourself credit for. And nobody else is going to give you credit in the same way. And if you actually start from there with yourself, if you just start with everything that you do that's great, praise yourself for that thing. Like, oh my gosh, you're such a great friend. Oh my gosh, you have such a big heart. Look how generous you are. Even if it's a situation where like you, especially when it's a situation where you did the right thing, even though it was hard.
Yeah, always.
And nobody on the outside knows that. You go to yourself, you go to the mirror and you literally look in your eyes and say, you did the right thing, even though it was hard. You're amazing. You're strong. You're brave. You're wonderful.
And to take a step back, because people hear that, they look at that, they mentalize it in their head, and they're going, that's cheesy as hell. I am not going to talk to myself in no mirror. But I have never had better conversations in my whole life than when I am butt-ass naked in the mirror looking at myself, trying to figure out my life.
Oh my gosh.
Talking to me.
People avoid talking to themselves in the mirror like crazy. And the reason that they do that is because they're a little bit worried about what it's going to be like to see that fear in their eyes, or to see that doubt, or they think that they don't deserve that time, or they think like, well, maybe that's okay for other people, that are really into that kind of self-help stuff, but they think that for them it's like a weakness. But the thing about looking it's like, well, I don't need to look in a mirror. But the thing about a mirror is you can't hide from yourself in a mirror. You can't hide from yourself.
Because when you're having that conversation, even with a therapist, there are certain frames that you're trying to make them look at you through. You're trying to get them to look at you through a certain filter still. Even before filters were around with Snapchat and stuff, there was another analogy for it. It's just an analogy for something that we've always been doing.
Right. You're presenting certain facades to certain people. And I don't mean the word facade to sound like it has a negative connotation. I just mean that everything is a facade because no one can see straight through to your spirit. So, everything is really a facade, right? It's just you're doing something over here, you're doing something over there. And sometimes with, like a counselor, you're going to be a certain way because you're like, well, I don't want, the people with straitjackets to jump out of the closet and take me away from there. So I'm not going to admit how deeply depressed I am about this, or, whatever those things are. And then with friends, it's like you still want to maintain a little bit of your status socially. So sometimes
always. Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get that, or dating. Oh my God, is facade on top of facade on top of facade.
Look at me through the thickest filter you can.
But when you're praising yourself, it's like, even if you do it in your mind, even if you don't do it in the mirror, if you start to tiptoe up on it, you have to ask yourself, why am I unwilling to praise myself?
Yeah.
Because the willingness to praise yourself is a good place to start. That's a baby step, and that's enough. You don't have to jump right into, I am amazing, I'm awesome. You just have to kind of get into some inquiry and go, why am I so reluctant to praise myself? What did that mean to me when I was younger? Have I been taught that I shouldn't praise myself, or that I shouldn't what do I think about praising myself? Like, does that mean I'm conceited? Does that mean I'm arrogant? Was I told that by people when I was younger?
Right.
Was I told that humility? Yeah. And they're taught that like humility is more important than actually acknowledging your strengths. And especially as a difference between men and women, right? Like for men, it's more confidence. Like, oh yeah, you acknowledge your strengths and that means you're confident. For women, it's like, oh, you acknowledge your strengths and that means you're immodest. That means you're bragging or you're whatever. So
recognize society's bullshit standards.
Yes. Break them. Heap praise on yourself. An easy way to do that is like if somebody compliments you and you say thank you, give that compliment to yourself again later. So somebody's like, you look awesome today. And you're like, thank you, which is already hard for a lot of us to just be like, thank you.
I told you one of my big things is my morning time with myself in my big body mirror when I get dressed and all pretty to come to work. My mom lives with me now for the month, and so she thinks it's hilarious. I go up to the mirror, I'm looking, I'm posing, I'm taking pictures for no one but my damn self, and I'm like, damn. And my mom is just on the couch like, you are ridiculous. And I was like, I am sexy as hell.
It's so true. Like, that's such a great thing that you do. The whole thing is like, and I love how Jackie says, I was raised, or maybe that was Jack, I was raised not to praise myself, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, like, if you're not praising yourself, if you're not filling yourself up, then who is?
Right.
Who is and who can and who should you look to do that? Of course you need to do that.
And of course there might be other people in your life who are going to fill that cup up for you. But
right.
never to your own self-degree.
Right. And if you don't have it inside, you won't believe them when they tell you good things about yourself anyway. You'll go back into that whole thing of like, yeah, but if they really knew what I knew, they wouldn't say that good thing about me. Mm-hmm. You know? So what we have to do first is to be like, I love myself. I'm an awesome person. I'm good at this. I have a great heart. I have anything you can do to help build yourself
up. Your intentions. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Praise yourself for your intentions. Praise yourself for your willingness to grow, even if you're not where you want to be yet.
Right.
Praise yourself for doing the right thing, even if nobody ever sees it.
Build up a list. Make it a challenge. Make it 30. Make it 40, where you build 30, 40 things out that you are worth for praising.
Yeah. I'm praising myself for, and they can be dumb things that you would think would be dumb.
And it stretches your mind's ability to praise yourself.
Absolutely. Like, I'm great at hopscotch.
Well, are you?
Okay, put that down.
That's good to know.
I'm a badass at hopscotch, actually.
Hey.
Yes. Put that down on your list.
I can put my legs behind my bed. I can put my legs behind my head. Boys.
Some of the things on your list may be appealing to other people. But the point is for them to be, they can be little things. It doesn't even make a difference. Like, and get an idea of what your superpowers are. Like, I know two of my top superpowers. One of them is that I'm really good at coming up with metaphors and analogies for things that help explain something to someone of like, this is what this means. It would be like XYZ. I'm great at doing that. Another thing I'm really good at is getting out of meetings that I don't need to be at.
I've become not involved.
I'm really good at those two things. They're like great superpowers for me. So get an idea of like, what is your superpower? What are you really good at that you get compliments about all the time that you just it's like you're so used to doing it. You're so used to getting compliments about it that you don't even really think about how great it is anymore. You're just like, oh yeah, that's just something I do. Think about that. What's your superpower? And share it. Share it with us.
Things that we all do that we don't realize that we're really, really great at. So I think another awesome thing to do, and this ain't cocky, this is beautiful. Ask someone, what are 5 things that you think I'm really skilled at? What do you think I'm really good at? What do you think is something that's great that only I do? Because you might be confounded, totally shocked. People always tell me, and I still am trying to come to terms with it, because I'm not there yet, but people are always telling me, Brandon, you are so positive. And I'm like, damn, I am? Am I really? And then and that's when I'm like not positive anymore all of a sudden. I'm like, am I really?
That's when you start to be fearful and critical of yourself of like, is that true or is that,
I'm on a fire drill at 4 a.m. and I live on like I live at the top of a very tall building. And I am walking down in my PJs with my dog and my mom. Everyone's all upset. Everyone's all mad, and I am all smiles, and I am having a ball, and I am on the ground with like 10 dogs, and I'm getting questions and looks, and like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, what is right? My apartment's not on fire, and there are 10 dogs surrounding me on the floor at one light at 4 a.m.
Yeah, and I live at one light.
I was like, I live somewhere I love, and this is wonderful. My neighbors are all fun, even though y'all all grumpy as hell right now. You're all great people. My default is really cool. I like that I can kind of default out to all these positive little things, and I'm thinking about them all. Like, this is great. This is wonderful. Fire drill 4 a.m. Woo.
That's a cool thing. And for you, I think one of the things for you is like, it takes a tremendous amount. It's not Pollyanna positivity. Mm-hmm. It's actually keeping your focus on where you want to be, your focus on your vision in spite of tremendous hardship. And that's a Brandon thing, and it's also an entrepreneur thing. Mm-hmm. It's like that's like you can't get where you're trying to go if you throw in the towel when it's like you know what I mean. So it's like you have that's a really amazing, powerful thing about you too, because it goes kind of beyond positivity for you. It's like, I'm going to stay focused on what is good and what I want to create, no matter what's going on. That's tremendous strength.
And one thing is like that specifically is a habit, and that's a skill, and it's not something I'm born with. It took time. I built it one day at a time, one going out of my way to be a positive moment at a time. And so when you do things in slow increments like that, and you build up to a spot that you aimed to be forever ago, it's hard to realize, oh, I've hit a cornucopia. I'm doing what I wanted to do. I'm doing great.
Yeah, yeah. Totally.
So that's why you should ask other people what are some things that they think you're very skilled at and that help make you stand out and that make you you.
Absolutely. I remember somebody said, what was it? As a bunch of people, I did this like a couple of years ago, and I did it with like 30 people, and like 15 of the people said, oh, they said something like, you enunciate well, or something weird like that. And I was like, no, they were like, you articulate your thoughts well. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, you're surprised that I can speak clearly? Like, I took it in a weird way. And what they meant was, you're a really great communicator, which is like a different thing than how I was taking it. So yeah, it's interesting to see how other people see you. Sometimes you'll get surprises. And I think that the point you made about how you build that up over time by practicing it over time is really important, because how do you learn how to overcome a bunch of BS? By having to overcome a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
Right? So like that's how you got good at it. So when you're in the middle of the BS, it's hard.
Yes. And sometimes you're sailing a whole new ocean of BS. And it's hard to realize that you just conquered 7 seas.
Right.
Outside perspective can be good for internal perspective. Quote it.
A whole new ocean of BS right here. This is a whole new ocean.
Read it out in your head, folks. Read it out in your head. So before we jump into 3, I wanted to let you guys know that we are taking questions and giving away gift cards during this episode today. So if you share it into the group, if you share it in comments, if you share it with friends, let them know. We are doing a couple different gift cards for awesome questions that are being asked. And throughout the show, once we finish up these 5, I'll compile a couple and we'll answer them as we go.
Absolutely. Sounds cool.
And with that, we're going into number 3, which is forgiving yourself.
Forgiving yourself is so huge.
Talk to me. Tell me why.
Forgiving yourself. Oh my gosh. Sometimes we think we're mad at somebody else. And what we're really mad at is that we allowed ourselves to be in a situation longer than was healthy for us.
Uh-huh.
And we're upset because we didn't live up to our standards for ourselves. Or we're upset because we allowed something to happen and we were not the stewards of our lives that we wanted to be. And our knee-jerk reaction can be like, oh, I'm blaming that other person. And so we go into that. We go into that mode of like, it's really this person's fault. And we think, oh, it's about forgiving this person and I'm not there yet. But it's not always about forgiving that other person. A lot of the time, most of the time, it's about forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to be treated in a way that was not for your highest good.
Yeah.
And it can be about not living up to the standards that you have for yourself.
Yes. It's hard to recognize that we do actually have internal standards. They're just a default and come out in everything that we do and all the self-judgments we make, but we have them.
Yeah. And when you have this vision of like, I am the kind of person who tells the truth. I am the kind of person who can be trusted. I am a good friend. I am a whatever, any of those things. And you feel like you fell short in one of those areas. You punish and punish and punish yourself. Well, the thing about it is like, there's a big, big difference between taking responsibility for choices you made and blaming yourself, right? Because blaming yourself, blame leads to guilt. Guilt leads to punishment. Punishment leads to pain. So blaming yourself always takes you to a painful place, right? But when you take responsibility, it's like going, okay, I can see how I got here. And now I want to go to a different place. So I'm going to bring the lessons from this decision and from the situation with me into a different new place.
Instead of kicking the bucket, taking a step back and assessing and taking the pieces that are going to serve you to get where you actually want to be, which is why you're upset.
Right. Right. And the thing that stops people so often is that they're still holding that grudge against themselves, so they don't think they deserve to have the good thing yet. They're still punishing themselves. We still are punishing ourselves for the bad relationship, or we're still punishing ourselves because, we like dropped out of school, or we're still punishing ourselves because whatever the thing was. And it's really like, please be gentle to yourself. If you have any belief in a source that is bigger than you, that source's blueprint for your life or intention for your life is the furthest thing from punishment that you could ever imagine. That source's desire for you is for you to have love that satisfies your spirit, for you to have perfect health, for you to have plenty of money, for you to have the self-expression of your gifts in the world that makes you so happy about your life that you don't care whether it's Saturday afternoon or Monday morning, because your life is awesome no matter what's going on. So it's like punishing yourself. You're the only person who thinks you need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just a thought. It's a thought that you can let go of. It's like you're punishing yourself. We punish ourselves for thoughts, and thoughts can be changed and healed. Like it's a judgment we made about ourselves that we can let go of, and it will reap huge rewards for yourself. Because as soon as I forgive myself for something, then I go, oh, good. Okay. I restore myself to that worthiness. I'm like, okay, you're not on punishment anymore. You're not on timeout anymore. It's okay for you to have the things that make you happy in your life.
Let yourself off of mental timeout.
Exactly. And it's okay for you to do that. It's okay for you to have that. It's like, it's a great thing for you to do that. It gives you permission to have all the richness in your life when you forgive yourself. You did the best you could at the time.
Yes.
You did the best you could with what you knew at the time.
And how fun is it that you're going to do better next time? You have new skills. You have new lessons. How great is that?
Right. And sometimes what happens is we're afraid if we stop punishing ourselves, we'll make the same mistakes over and over again.
Yes.
We're like, I have to be super vigilant for this behavior in myself. Otherwise, I will make the same mistakes over and over again.
But I find we learn better by just owning up to our mistakes and totally accepting with a full heart all the lessons that have come with it. Because then you start paying attention to what are the lessons. And when you reshape them in your head as lessons, they kind of stick better than bad boy. Bad boy. If you
then punishment.
dog pees on the carpet and you rub its nose in the carpet and then don't take it outside.
Yeah. It doesn't learn anything from that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just learns that you like to rub its nose in the carpet, and that must be why it's alive.
Dad. Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad I live. Thank you.
Right, because this is what I'm supposed to do in my life, I guess. Yeah. So
I'm going to peruse some questions on the side here, too.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's such a big deal to please know that you did the best that you could. Anybody watching this right now, please know you did the best that you could at the time with what you knew then. And if you take the lessons forward with you, you don't need to take the pain or the punishment. You can leave the pain and just take the lessons. And it's a really great thing. Let yourself off the hook. You deserve it. You deserve it. You never needed to suffer. And even if you did, you've suffered plenty. So let it go. You can let it go.
There's a lot of just really positive, happy, beautiful messages here. It's hard to find some questions. Guys.
That's cool. I'm glad that's a good vibe of like people being ready to let go of things. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Being able to let go and let yourself off the hook is like, sometimes we think that we're supposed to be punished because of like a religious upbringing thing where we believe in a super punishing God. And instead of thinking like God is always watching us to help us out, we learn God is always watching us to punish us if we do something wrong. So sometimes it can be a really big a thing that comes from an interpretation of religion or something like that, but it's okay.
Right.
So I see there's a question. Murphy Elizabeth, any tips, skills on how to not let negative people bring down your positivity, the people that live off bringing you down? Oh my gosh, this is such a great question.
And hit us up for a gift card.
Yay. Okay. So here are a couple of things. Whenever you start to grow in a big way, and you start to make these big internal shifts, other people all around you will start to see that and respond to you in a different way.
Yeah.
The people in your life, if they're not very conscious of it or self-aware, their default reaction is to try to keep you where you were before because they were comfortable with you there. And a lot of times they don't even realize that they're doing it. Right, but your growth pushes their buttons. And sometimes it can be because it highlights things about their own life that they are not addressing when they see you address those things and move past them in your own life. So that's one thing to recognize, is that sometimes those people that are doing that, they're operating off of their own limiting beliefs that have nothing to do with you. Their judgments are not actually about you. There's other stuff they're projecting on you, has nothing to do with you at all whatsoever. It's their thing and their story. But one of the things that you can do, and this is something you and I have talked about, right, is to get super busy with your positivity and your growth and what are the action steps you need to take for the goals that are in your life. Because you can tell those people, you know what, I don't really have time to hang out, or I don't really have time to talk. And if you have other things you're actually doing, then it's easier to say, oh, you know what, I can't do that because I'm on my way to class right now. Or I can't do that, I can't talk to you because I'm doing a blog post right now. Or
make your happiness your hustle.
Yes, exactly. That's so brilliant and beautiful and exactly the elegant way to put that. So make your happiness your hustle. And you will be too busy to be talking to these people and have them in your life. The other thing is, surround yourself with people that are going in the direction you're going in, so that because no one can do it alone. So if you're used to your network of people that are all negative, it's going to feel weird to spend less time with them and just be by yourself. So you still need a good community, and you need to build that. So build your own family of people that really, really do have your back and are going in the same place that you're going to the same place that you're going. And another thing is to really resist the urge to change the negative people, because they will just pull you more into that mindset, their own mindset. It'll be infectious. You'll just feel worse every time you try to talk to them. You'll start to feel like you're responsible for fixing their lives.
And if
they're not ready.
Their lives, they will start adjusting, and it'll be better for them. You are the accumulation of the 5 people that you hang out with most. So make sure that that council of people that makes you who you are, and as a big guide light in your personality, are good people, are people that are living in their best intentions both for you and themselves. Yeah, absolutely. And just really resist the urge to go back and pull those people along with you, because they might not really even be able to hear you from where they are. And they're just on a different pathway from you. It's like, if you are going to be a change factor in their life, the best way that you can do that is by having your life together the way that you want it and being an inspiration. And then if they approach you, then you can talk to them about it. You know what I mean? Because even like when people ask for advice, you know, we've talked about this, like people ask for advice, 9 times out of 10, they don't really want your advice. They are hoping you're going to tell them to do what they already decided that they wanted to do. Right. Yes. Or that what they already did was okay. And the big thing with that is what you've decided you're going to do is okay.
Yeah, just do what you're going to do.
You are your best counsel. Take your own advice. Run with it. Make your decisions on your own. I've had to stop trying to do that all the time, because I used to have to run everything through everyone. Yeah. You know, at one point I had the whole council of people that I was going to school with back in B school, and I'd have to run it through 10 people every time before I did anything.
Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Is there something that I'm not seeing, or is there something that I'm not missing? Do you think I should do this? And and the thing about it is that people, like, I'm sure everybody watching this is, they're really about their own growth. Like, they want to grow, you know, and they want to use their gifts in the world. They have big, caring hearts, and that's like everyone who's watching this is like that. Like, everyone who's attracted to your community is like that, because your community, that's what your community is about. You know, that's the family, right? So it's like the Crumble family. That's what it's like. That's what it's about. So the thing is, like, the pitfall of having such a big caring heart is that you keep trying to rescue other people.
Aim the hell in. That has so many connotations to it off the bat. Oh, dear God.
So that's one of the things about the negativity, like having negative people in your life is like, bless those people, release those people, trust that they're going to get what they need when they need it, and then you refocus on what you're creating in your life.
I have a good example. All of you are going to love this. It's some behind-the-scenes Crumbleco goodness. So when Karen came onto the team, she, to this day, I think she maybe blocked 4 people from the group ever. I have blocked, I think it's close to 300 plus people from my group.
Wow.
And he was like, why in the world? And eventually she got it. We had a big conversation about it. And my big thing was just, they are going to find what they need somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But they are bringing themselves and everything that they are attached to my community. And what they're bringing is not good. It is not serving the people here. My community in itself is another person that I'm managing, in a sense, the way I look at it. And I want them to have the best people. I want it to be the best energy. And you know what? Anyone is welcome to come there. And our big rule is if you get kicked out, blocked, removed, I don't care what you do. If you tell us you're sorry and you want back in, you are in. You're in 9 times out of 10. There's some people we don't let back in.
Right.
But it was hard to get at first because it was like, well, they're customers and they're this and that. And I was like, the community itself is a huge project for me. And it's everything to me. Managing that and protecting it is so huge. And she is so on board with that. And then once that clicked with her, now we're both just like, we need to protect the community at all costs. And, we're never mad at the people that were removed from the group or from our lives in the same example on the flip of the coin, because bless them. I hope they get everything they need. I hope they follow every dream and every passion. But if they're not serving a purpose of kindness and of joy and of aspiration to be better every day, they don't need to be in my life. They don't need to be in the Crumble family.
The energy doesn't. The energy is not a match. If the energy is not a match, then the energy is not a match, and it's nobody's fault. And everybody's at different places of where they want to be. But it's like we have to trust that we don't have. It's not our job to save everybody, because sometimes our desire to save other people is actually crippling for them. Like, it keeps them from learning the lessons that they need to learn. It keeps them from stepping up as a leader of their own lives, stepping into stewardship, stepping into growth. It keeps them from being able to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like,
some people are not ready for Crumble family. They ain't ready.
Well, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. I've worked with people before too, where they've started to, like, because I give a lot in my community, and my I have a free community, and it's like, what you have, and I give a lot in that community. And if somebody, and occasionally I will do like free sessions for people, but I have requirements for that. So I'll be like, you need to fill out this assessment and actually give some introspection to what's going on in your love life, so we can talk about that in your session. And I had somebody recently who, instead of actually filling out the assessment, she literally wrote, and I gave an example. I even said, if I ask you, tell me about your last relationship, and you say it sucked, you're not giving thought to what's going on. You're just like, we can't come to our time together and actually be able to hit the ground running, because you're not ready to like dive deep and look at those things.
Right.
So there was a woman I was working with, and she had scheduled a session, and she didn't answer the last 4 questions. She just said on the application thing, well, I have to leave for work, so I'll just have to answer this later. That's what she said for the last 4 questions. And submitted it. So she still took up that spot from someone else. And I was so clear, like I had it written everywhere. I had denounced it. I talked about it, and I'd been like, this is important. I even said during, the live, and I was like, does this sound fair to you? Do you understand why this is a requirement? If you're not willing to put the time into examining your past relationship, why are you asking me to put that time into that with you? Right? You have to be willing to do that too. And if you are, I'm there with you. Let's do this. Let's dive deep and do real work. But if you're not going to do it, I'm not going to do it.
Absolutely. I love that.
You've got to do that, right?
So much, because you do. You give so much to that community. And when you run a community, you give yourself in its entirety.
And you're not like during certain hours. You're like checking at 2 a.m. like, does anybody need me? And what's going on?
Yes,
is everybody good?
Constantly. It's like, I do it carry in. Carrie Ann is up more than me checking this community nonstop. And so I'm like, when people are disrespectful to your presence and everything that you give to the community and that I give to the community, they have to go. We do not deserve that disrespect. They have to.
And it takes down the energy for everyone else because we're stewards of this community, right?
Yeah.
And this particular person, I had my assistant reach out to her and say, I'm so sorry, but we've had to cancel your session because one of the requirements is that your application be completely filled out. And this is what, yours was. And her response was like, I can't believe you're this inflexible. I can't believe I would never want to connect. It was just like, it was all like about how we did something wrong and all these things. And I was like, oh, honey, but it's not a match. This isn't a good, we can't do this. So then she was like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore.
Oh, yeah. That happens all the time.
And you're just like, okay. I had somebody else who was like, what was it? She was upset about, she wanted access to my one-on-one sessions, but she didn't want to pay for them. And she was angry that other people were were posting all these great things about working with me one-on-one, but she couldn't afford a session, and why couldn't I create something for her? And it was just this really weird conversation where she was like, well, I thought that we were friends, and I feel like you're taking away my support just because I can't afford it, and just all this kind of weird stuff. And it was just like, well, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. So I was like, well, if that's your decision, I'll go ahead and take them out of the group. And then she was like, I can't believe you took me out of your group.
Yes, all the time. Oh my God. Literally today before I got on here, someone emailed us up and said, what is a restock? I don't understand. What is all this stuff? And we go out of our way. We spend our time. I have employees that are filling out these answers and explaining it on my clock to this one person of what a restock is that we posted. This answers everywhere, but we answer this email because we answer every email. We take pride. Carrie Ann makes that inbox down to 0 every time she goes into it. She's amazing at it. And so this person responds back with, oh, I'm not going to spend my money on a company that tries to make me wait around and wastes my time and is this and that. And she's eating us a new one. She's biting us in and out. And we are horrible because of X, Y, and Z and everything that we do. And you know what? That's a good way of looking at it, because if I could go back and just sit back and go, oh, honey, we ain't a match. That'd have been it. But I carried it.
I was like, energetically, we're not a match. Like, there are people, the way that I looked at it is like this. There are women in my community who have committed to their own growth.
Yes.
And my job is to show up in full service to those women. And for me to do that means I don't have energy if you're not about that life. Like, if that's not for you, I'm not here for that. You know what I mean? So, but when those people show up, the people that are like, let's do this, I'm like, this is what I am here for. Like, I can give them everything. I'm happy to do stuff I would, normally just do for one-on-one, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're here. I want to see you succeed. Like, this is what it's about. If you're here, I'm here for you, But if it's about blaming people and not taking personal responsibility and all those kinds of weird things, it's like, you know what? That's cool. I get that that's where you're coming from right now, and everybody has to do the best they can with where they are. But it's like, there's personal responsibility, So it's like, I'm here for you if you're about that. If you're about your growth, I am here for you.
I love that. 10%. I find every other week or so, I get sucked into giving 80% of my energy to the 0.1% of people who just don't deserve my energy, who are just sucking it to suck it, and who are just being mean, and who just want to throw a fit somewhere, and we are that place of the day.
Yes. And it's a weird thing. And for me, because I'm an energy healer, I'm literally connecting with people that I work with. I'm connecting to your energy while we're working together. So I have to be selective about that kind of thing. I have to, you know what I mean? I really have to be like, okay, where are you coming from? And let's get an idea of what's going on. But it's like, that's how you've created such an amazing community, because you're a steward of your community, the energy of your community, and you take it so seriously, and it's so important. And that makes the people in your community feel safe, because they know that it's genuine. They know that they're protected. They know that it's a space where they can be vulnerable. It's like, it's a good, makes it a good place.
I have one more question I want to answer before we jump into the final two and our bonus question.
Woo-hoo.
We'll try to speed it up so we can make it without being 3 hours long. The question is much needed advice on how to build the strength to cut out an extremely poisonous and negative person in my life.
Okay, so all of the things we were talking about before would be like strategies for how to do this. But this question, like all the things we talked about in response to Elizabeth's question, would be like the strategies, right? Once you have the foundation. Mm-hmm. This question is about how do I get the emotional foundation to be able to do those things. Mm-hmm. And that comes with, it comes with working on your feelings of worthiness. Because the more that you're like, this is not, we're actually going to, we're going to talk about this. This is our bonus question. The bonus question we're going to talk about after number 5, it's going to be about this. Should we jump in and share that right now? Because it's exactly the thing that will help with this. Or should we just?
Let's go ahead.
Okay, so let's share it. So there's
follow
a question.
The flow.
Let's follow the flow. So there's a question you can ask yourself, McKenna, and it will help you in these situations. It will help you get the strength to cut those poisonous negative people out of your life. And the question is, how would someone who loves herself allow herself to be treated in this situation? That question is a crucial question because it will change your life. And you can usually ask it 2 ways. The first way you can ask it would be, if someone loves herself, would she allow herself to be in this situation? And then the second way you can ask that is, how would someone who loves herself want to be treated in this situation? Because then that gives you the options of what to do next. Another thing you can think of, because sometimes it's easier for us to do healthy things on behalf of someone else. If you have kids and you can think of, or younger children in your family, and you can think of like, what would I tell them to do in this situation? How do I want them to grow up thinking that they should be treated? Especially like, I know that for my clients, because I work with women, if they have daughters, and I say, if they're in a situation that's a really difficult situation where they're trying to figure out what to do about a man who's in their life or something like that, I will say to them, what would you tell your daughter to do in this situation? Would you tell your daughter, just stick it out, stay there? Or would you tell your daughter, do you know what? Someone is going to realize how amazing you are and treat you accordingly. And you're here for that person, not for this foolishness, you know, and these shenanigans.
And girl, run.
Yes, get out. So sometimes it's easier for us if we think about, like, what would you tell someone else that you love to do in that situation, you know? And then remember that you love yourself.
So make sure you hit us up for a gift card, because I want to make sure you get your gift card. Thank you. And so our final 2 points, we're cutting close on time, so we might go a little bit over, but I think everyone's okay. And our number 4 is getting sleep, which I think goes into quite a few things.
Oh my goodness. Sleep is so, so important physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Sleep will rejuvenate you, you know, and we make weird decisions when we're sleep deprived. It's a really bad time to make decisions. We tend
contacting
to be
exes.
Yeah, that's one. Cyber stalking exes.
Yeah.
Our impulse control plummets when we're sleep deprived. Our ability to delay gratification plummets when we're sleep deprived.
Depression can rise.
So we start eating stuff that we know is super bad for us, and you know, it's like, it's just bad. It puts you in such a bad situation in terms of like taking care of yourself. Right. You know, I love this quote. Ayanna Van Zant talks about this.
Ayanna.
I love Ayanna. She talks about how if your body is the temple of your spirit, you have to think of it like this. If your temple is corrupt, then your spirit will be weak. So you've got to take care of it, and you've got to get rest. You've got to rejuvenate yourself. Go to sleep on the same day you woke up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard thing for some of us to do, right?
Yes. The entrepreneur in me is like, girl, who are you talking to?
That's impossible. So it's like, right.
But it's also so important. I notice the giant differences in my entire life when I have weeks of just pulling all-nighters and I have weeks of just getting all the sleep I can get.
Oh my gosh. When you get enough rest, and sometimes enough rest is like 30 minutes early. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier.
Right, yeah.
Because you can never sleep in the next day. That's not possible, right? Especially like if you have kids, you have a job, like all of these other things. It's like, no, you're not going to get, and just your body's natural sleep cycle. It's like used to waking up at a certain time. Even if you go to sleep at 3, if your body's used to waking up at 6.
7:13 is my number. 7:13.
Yeah.
I am awake.
Yeah, you could go to bed at 5, and your body would go, "Okay, Brandon, it's 7:13. We got stuff to do.
Gotta go." Mm-hmm.
Wake you up. So going to bed earlier is really the way to do that. And the thing that's interesting is like if you go on vacation and you can just like sleep in and do whatever, however much sleep you get on the second day that you're on vacation is the amount of sleep that you actually need, that your body naturally needs. So it's interesting because the first day that you're on vacation, you're just filling your sleep deficit, whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to sleep till 1, p.m., whatever it is. You just sleep. The next day is what's normal for you, what you actually need to have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's an interesting thing. But that sleep is vital. What's funny is I find even with energy healing, when I am rested, I connect easier. I connect faster. It doesn't feel like a strain. And I don't have this weird like recovery thing that I have to do after, like for energetic hygiene and stuff like that.
Yes.
Your mood, everything is it affects so many things.
I remember last week I came to work and I was, mind you, I was sick the previous week, but I came to work after getting like 4 hours of sleep instead of like my 7. And I had to leave early. I was literally getting nothing done. I was sitting here and like staring at my computer blank, and I looked over at Karen and I'm like, girl, I gotta go. I have to leave.
You're like reading the same thing over and over again, but you still haven't realized what it says. It's like we do those kinds of things. We're just sleepwalking, and it's like you're a danger on the road. You're not being productive anyway. It's like, but from the healing perspective, make your room as dark as you can possibly get it to be. Make it the temperature a little bit cooler than you would normally have it. Like all the things that you love about sleeping in a hotel room because, oh my God, I sleep so great when I'm on vacation.
Yes, which also sometimes means making a fresh bed, having a bed. Yes. Even if you're about to go to sleep, usually I'll do it at night. Mm-hmm. I'll make the bed. It's all pretty. I don't tuck it in, but I make it really pretty. It looks good. And I have all my twinkly lights and my headphones for my meditations, my ASMR, and I have my candle lit. Crumbleco.com. And
and then when I'm ready TV out of the room, that's a good one. Yeah.
No TV in my room, and I'll unplug my lights when I'm ready to go to bed, and I'll unplug the candle, and I'll just drift away.
Yeah, there's an app that's called, I'll tell you what it's called right now because I have it on my phone. It's called Relax Melodies. This is what it looks like, Relax Melodies.
Oh, you showed me that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's free. It's great. It's like you can listen to waves or crickets or frogs or like whatever you want. You can layer things on top of rainstorm, a thunderstorm in the city, like whatever you want to listen to that you're used to, It's fantastic. But anything that you can use to help yourself just drift into sleep. Louise Hay has an amazing meditation CD that's evening and morning meditations. The evening meditations, you're just like, by the time it's like 2 or 3 minutes into it, you're already dropping off. It's like, you're like, check out, peace. And it's like, don't read the news before you go to sleep. Don't, especially if if like me, you're considerably disturbed by the political climate right now and what's going on, do not read the news before you go to sleep. Don't watch horror movies before you go to sleep. Don't watch psychological thrillers before you go to sleep. Don't watch like 24 or House of Cards or any of that kind of stuff before you go to sleep. I kept having House of Cards dreams where everything was dark and shadowy and everyone had a Southern accent.
And Kevin Spacey's there.
It was like, what's going on? It was like, don't have a Walking Dead marathon before you go to sleep, even if you haven't been able to catch up.
Respect your nighttime ritual. Again, that's like such preparation for that temple.
Yeah. Know that whatever is the last thing that you're doing before you go to sleep, you will take it into sleep with you. Yeah. So just get your sleep hygiene together.
I think that slips into our number 5 too, which is EFT.
EFT, yes. Any tappers out there, let us know, because oh my gosh.
I used to be a big fan of tapping. It was such a silly thing at first, but it has pulled me out of some shit.
So here's how tapping works, right? So I'm an energy healer. So if you and I connect aura-wise, right? Like if you and I are going to do work together, I would connect with your aura. And that's my point of entry to do that healing work. The way that tapping works is that you connect to yourself to do healing, and your point of connection is your body. Yeah. So you connect to your own aura through your body, and you do that healing. So it's a really great kind of a self-healing pattern interrupting tool. So when you start having those weird thoughts, like if you are scaring yourself, if you are having problems forgiving yourself, tapping is an amazing thing to interrupt that pattern and start helping you bring in that, I deeply and completely love and accept myself kind of a thing.
And so people are confused. So I think obviously we're going to do a demo.
We need to do a demo. So let's do it. Let's do a demo. So here's how tapping kind of works. There are meridian points there are energy meridians that run through your body. And if you've ever done acupuncture before, then you know that about these energy meridians that run through your body, right? And acupuncture is we're putting needles into these energy meridians to interrupt a pattern and stimulate like the removal of a blockage in energy.
Right, yeah.
Right. Acupressure, tapping is like acupressure healing for yourself. So instead of putting needles into yourself along these points, you're just tapping on those points. So these energy meridian kind of places, and I know it sounds super woo-woo, like when I first tell people about, like, you can try this out and it might be a good thing for you, they're like,
mm-hmm. And if y'all know me, you know I'm not super woo-woo.
Yeah. It's not
but
works,
the simple
it works.
Practice of it works, yeah.
Yeah, if something works, it works. And you can, if you're not super woo-woo and you're like, I don't know, but I might want to try it, think of it as a pattern interrupter. Think of it as a pattern interrupter. Just think of it like that. So there are points along your body, and what we can do is, without getting into like a super deep, of all the points and whatever, we're going to use a karate chop point. So this point right here along your hand is actually part of your energy meridian. And they're not like chakras. Chakras are a little bit different, but it's energy that runs along meridians in your body. Chakras are like power centers. So there's like your third eye chakra, your throat chakra, your heart chakra. Energy meridians are like lines, pathways where energy travels in your body. Mm-hmm. So one of the points in an energy meridian is here. And you can think of it like the karate chop point, because that's where you would do that. And tapping on that area actually helps to release like blockages in that energy. So you can actually tap, some people like to tap on their worst fear. So they'll say their worst fear out loud and say, even though everybody's going to desert me in my life, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And they'll tap on that point, right? And other people like to just keep it positive and be like, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Whatever works for you, you can do that. But what I've found is that when that negative thing comes up, if you tap on that thing and you're like, even though I'm afraid that all my friends are going to desert me, even though worst fear, you can use that formula. Even though worst fear, I deeply and completely love and I accept myself. It helps to break through that thing. So take a fear that you have right now that's like your worst possible fear of like what can happen right now. Even though I'm going to be homeless, like something like that. Worst possible
and some of the big things I would do when I was doing tapping is you'd go from that horrible edge of fear and pain and jealousy, and you'd slowly work your quotes in the way you're saying things towards a level of positivity. And sometimes you got to say the same thing 20 times, and sometimes you're there for an hour. But as you're doing these practices, there's so much internal work going on in your head.
Yes. And the energy clears. Like, there's a reason that Chinese medicine has been around for 2,000 years. Okay. I mean, there just is. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a good, there are ways to balance Eastern and Western, but this is an example of that. It's like an example of that. So when you're tapping here, like a really bad thing would be like if you were afraid of being alone forever. You're afraid that you're not worthy of love, that you're always going to be cheated on. Let's take that. So you would go, even though I'm always going to be cheated on, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then you could change to something else. Even though I always attract people that cheat on me, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though my relationships keep falling apart, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. It could be about money. It could be about whatever it is. It could be about a fear that you have, about something new that you want to do with your life, and you're scared to do it. Even though I'm going to fail if I launch my own business, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you'll find that even if you do it for just a couple of minutes, as long as you use that kind of a formula where you end with, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, the last few times you do it, you could just even be going, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And when you take a deep breath at the end and let that go, you'll notice a change. Sometimes people will start to cry because they've released something that's been like a frozen block that's been in there for a long time. Sometimes people will just feel a lightness. So it's like, it's a really great tool to have in your toolbox. If you're about to go speak and you're nervous about speaking, if there's a confrontation you have to have.
Nerves for things, grief.
Grief, it's helpful for grief. It's helpful for just anytime you need to interrupt a pattern so that you can see clearly and act and take wise action, then it's a really helpful thing. Yeah.
And so before we finish up, because that's the last one, what are some other tapping spots? I know there's the monkey one.
There is the monkey one, which I call the bra strap one too, which you can do with one hand. I don't know if people can see completely, but it's like right here. So that's one. But if you're going kind of in order, you would start here with your karate chop one. Then you would go to the top of your head.
The crown.
The crown of your head. Then you would go right here between your eyebrows. Then you would go to the outer edge of your eye. Then you would go right here under your eye. Then right here under your nose. Right here under your mouth. Then you would go to your collarbone. So just to the side of where those two bones connect. And then you would go to that underarm point. The bra strap, monkey point, whatever you would want to call it.
Monkey arms.
Monkey arms. And you can keep going in a cycle. So like we could do one together where we can say, even though I've been disappointed, we'll tap through the points together. So let's start here and we'll say, even though I've been disappointed in my life, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I've had a hard time in the past, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though other people in my life have been acting crazy, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I've made big mistakes, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even if I haven't taken as good care of myself as I want to, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even if I've been afraid to tell the truth about things, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I've judged myself really harshly,
very harshly,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though it's really hard for me to be gentle with myself,
even though it's very hard for me to be gentle with myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And then you can just tap right here. I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
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 And the last time, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And then you can put your hands down and take a really deep breath. Let it all out. And just like check in with your body and see how you feel.
Yeah, one of the ways I used to do that was like, what number are you at now? What's your frustration level? Are you an 8? Are you a 9? Then I'd go through one cycle and I'd go, where are you at?
Where am I at now?
You got to keep working.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. And the other thing that I've seen with healing is if any kind of healing happens, there's always a common denominator in the way people describe it. And they'll always say some variation of, I feel lighter. Mm-hmm. There's always lightness. That
is a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
Even now I feel lighter. I hope there's some of you guys that felt the need to come along with that and did that. And I would love to get like a portion of that. That's just the mini recording, put it on YouTube.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good tool to have in your toolbox for loving yourself, because it really does help with all of the other things. It helps you stop scaring yourself. It helps you forgive yourself. It helps you to praise yourself. It helps you, with the sleep even, because you can say, even though I've not been getting the sleep that I need to get, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've been staying up too late, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. You can say those things as you're going through, and it helps you let that go and forgive yourself, and refocus on what you want for yourself.
I feel so much lighter.
I feel lighter too.
And with all these things that we're teaching and all of these different steps and all of the different points that we talk about every day, as we bring back to the beginning of this conversation, we are sharing different points, different methods, and different coping mechanisms for dealing with your life, for improving your life, for making it more loving, more joyous, and more kind. So I hope that you take what you need. It's a free buffet of love. And you all run with it. And as always, thank you guys so much for being a part of Love Stream TV. And thank you so much for being a part of Love Stream TV, Carissa. You're always my favorite person to throw on here.
Thank you.
Everyone always loves you and begs for you to come back.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, I love being here. You are one of the people, you're just one of my favorite people, man.
One of the peoples.
You're one of my favorite. You're one of my peoples.
So they can find you.
You're in my
I'm
track.
gonna type it out.
You know what? Yeah, you can find me. Can I share 2 ways where people can find me?
Yes, I've got one up now.
Yes, CarisaMontooth.com. You can also come into my free community. This is for the ladies only, though.
Girls?
For the ladies only, girls only. It's called Secret Seduction Sorority. And you can go to secretseductionsorority.com and you can connect there, and there's good stuff. So
as always, check that out. You guys know I'll never share anything with you unless it was top of the line, creme de la creme, amazing, worth checking out. I've been a part of a lot of her doings and ins and outs forever, and they've changed my life, and it's been such an influence on me. And of course, reminder, tomorrow is restock. 5 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, and 2 o'clock your time, Pacific Standard, California. So I hope to see you guys all there tomorrow. We'll be sharing some more fun stuff tonight and tomorrow as we approach our, if you didn't know, this is our historic restock. We never had a restock bigger than the one we're having tomorrow. It is our record breaker. We have hauled ass for weeks.
Oh, wow.
We have fought for this one, so I'm very excited, and I'm glad that we got to usher it in with this beautiful, loving conversation and build this space together.
That's so cool. I'm so excited for your restock. Oh my God.
Well, all of you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to bid you adieu, and we will see you next time.